Hello and welcome to episode 166 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with the socials.
The Wall 77 Club on Facebook and Instagram, at 77 Club Podcast on Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Subscribe and tell a friend.
Dan Bayliss is here.
Hello, Wolves fans.
And Jack Williams.
I thought you were waving at us then. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Dan. So, post-international break, and was it a win and a draw for England? Cody played in the win. So, I mean, we were going to do a podcast last week, weren't we, Harry? But you said, no, we're going to save it till next week. So we've got a full podcast to listen to.
Wasn't it because it's your missus' birthday? Was that the reason?
Yeah.
Oh, also, yeah.
And because all we'd have had to talk about is Newcastle, and it would have been about a 15-minute podcast, wasn't it? And Jack weren't there. Where was you, Jack? South Korea? Where were you?
Where'd you go, Jack? Malta?
Malta for a bit, yeah. Malta. It's nice.
Is it?
Nice to get away, yeah.
Yeah, good. Harry, we'll start with Newcastle, and obviously you weren't vlogging because you've packed away the camera, you've hung up your headphones in that respect, so it was obviously on the booze all day until Hwang scored 2, and the vlogging camera was swiftly taken off the shelf, blowing off the dust, and doing a post-match reaction whilst everyone is waiting around going, where's Harry? We're trying to go to the pub, and he's talking to himself in the North Bank.
Yeah, well, you got it, haven't you? And good performance. I mean, the views, signs was just rolling around my head as soon as he scored 2, let's be honest. But on the game as a whole, obviously we got soaked, didn't we? We missed Newcastle's goal. We missed Trincao smashing the underside of the bar, but I did watch it back after. And it was a good win, but it's probably one of the worst performances. Take away the Brentford one. But we did what we needed to do, didn't we? Raul and Hwang on the day combined really well. Got the 2 goals, and if we're going to win ugly like that at home against teams like Newcastle, I'll take it all day.
Dan, would you call them world-class finishes? Because I don't think they're far off. They were absolutely superb, I thought, in terms of placement and stuff. When you're used to looking at someone like Adama Traore just smashing it across the front of goal, and then you've got finesse into the corner on each foot as well, might I add, from Hwang, it makes a really nice difference.
Well, yeah, we've got a couple of players that will remain nameless for the time being that just sort of hit and hope.
Trincao.
Composed. Nice finish. The keeper probably could have done better, but he sort of committed himself, didn't he? And Hwang had that ability to just slide it around him. Lovely goals. Game on the whole, Harry's right. I don't think we were fantastic. But Newcastle didn't create a lot. I thought the goal was a foul, in all fairness. A referee should be blowing them. But there we go. VAR had a look at it. He should have stayed down. He should have gone down like an absolute sack, rolled around 18 times like Jota would have done, and we'd have got the foul. He shouldn't have tried.
Which do you think was worse, Bayliss, the weather or the performance?
It's the weather.
It is the weather. So speaking of which, I mean, Jack, you
not his pocket.
You did the you did the textbook, didn't you? Watching it from home, and I bet you were really glad you did. Nice, comfortable win. Feet up on the sofa, not getting wet.
I was thinking of you at the time. I thought, if I'm going to miss a game, this is a good one to miss, isn't it? When it's raining horrible like that. So yeah, was it a soaking? Were you? North Bank special.
Bad.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Second half was all right, but first half it was torrential.
I think did we go down on 36
minutes, something like that? Yeah, we went down. Obviously, we wanted a beer as well, but there was a big good excuse, the fact that we all looked like drowned rats.
Harry had a pie as well because you had a heavy night the night before, didn't you?
Oh, it was a bit of a bender, wasn't it? Those 2 days, a bit of a 2-day bender, but
it's a nice pie
anyway. So
I love that Harry in our WhatsApp group put lads, eating's cheating. I completely
you had a pie last time, Harry.
You had a pie, mate. Oh, did I? No idea.
That was a theme for the evening. Obviously, we saved ourselves, didn't we, Bayliss, to go for a curry, and then we were out of action all last week. So.
I mean, we'll very lightly touch on it, but yeah, we went for a curry after the game and gave us both typhoid. So
yeah, so we would recommend the place, but I'm sure it'll be shut next week. In terms of that performance, Harry, I know it wasn't the best, but are we starting to see glimpses of maybe a team that's starting to gel together quite well?
Well, maybe, but the thing is, at the moment, the lineups are changing like every week. Adama Traore couldn't get a look in again, which must be something to do with the contract situation, which I know we're going to talk about. It was crying for him to come on, but I think because we scored the second, Bruno Lage thought, well, there's no point now. We're winning, so I think he'll start against Villa, but that's another thing to talk about. And he's just not got his actual settled team yet, has he? He's been chopping and changing. He's played Dendoncker and Moutinho. He's played Neves and Moutinho, Neves and Dendoncker. He's played different wing backs. Obviously, a lot of the changes come in the cup, but he's also made a lot of changes in the league too. And eventually, he's got to find his settled team, which should be sooner rather than later, hopefully.
Jack, is it a small squad syndrome? Because we're so used to seeing Nuno not making substitutions or until very late on. And I think Harry was right. Dendoncker, 86th minute in this one, and Traore came on 90 plus 3, which just seems a complete waste of time.
Yeah, I think they were both time-wasting substitutions more than anything, weren't they, really? But yeah, I was surprised he didn't change them any sooner. But it was a mixed game, actually, on a whole. I think there were some very, very good performances in there and some really poor performances in there. Obviously, Hwang and Jimenez were brilliant. And the way they linked up, and you mentioned already, his finishing was brilliant. It's nice having a player who seems to be able to finish, probably like Jota could, really, when he was on his day. So that's a promising early sign. Still early days yet, though. I think the centre-backs did well. Overall, I think, we looked relatively solid. The goal was a bit of a weird one that we let in, as you guys have touched on. Looking back on it, I don't think it was a foul, to be honest. Even if he had stayed down, I think we might have been pushing on luck there, but whatever, we scored anyway. And I thought Trincao was rubbish. If you watch Trincao, obviously, he has that chance to score, just like where he should have scored just before they scored. Yeah. So then we get the ball back and have another go. And Trincao is the one who loses the ball for them to go on the attack and score. So he's messed up twice in the space of about 90 seconds or so. So yeah, that's just not good enough, really. And I thought the wing backs didn't offer much, really, and probably haven't for quite a while now. If I don't know, to tempt Dan with saying something about Semedo,
tee him up,
I think fair. I think Marcel and Semedo both didn't offer very much against Newcastle, but we got the win because other players sort of carried us through.
Bayliss, do you think Marcel has sort of had his run in the side now?
I just don't know what to think anymore. I've banged on for months, if not a year, about the wing backs, and now we're in a bad position with them. And I've been poo-pooed. The entire thing's been brought down by poo-poo twice this week. So
it was funny sat next to Bayliss.
I'm not saying anymore because everyone knows my thoughts. If you listen to this more than once, you know exactly what I think, and I'm not just going to regurgitate the same old crap.
It was funny because me and Sam were just wincing every time he made a mistake, and he made a lot on the day, didn't he, Semedo? And he was
there one where he tanked it straight out?
Yeah.
Did he? Is that? Yeah.
I don't know if it's because he had Trincao in front of him. I think he links up quite well with Traore. That's probably why I want to see him.
Find any excuse? Could have played Brexit in a minute.
Well, it's either him or Hoover, and I think we'll keep plugging away with Semedo. I mean, he could have 5 goals this season if he could finish. Marcel, I think it's time for Aït-Nouri, isn't it? Like, he's done well, Marcel. He's done well not to get injured. He's had a good little run in the team. But I think Aït-Nouri in there, someone who can cross the ball when he gets in the positions and goes over the halfway line.
Jack, you look like you want to dive in there.
No, I was just thinking back on it. Marcel did go over the halfway line, and it was when Newcastle scored. Because it was a ball from Neves, I think, which got cut out, which Marcel was going like a train onto, and then he's got to try and get back, and he's obviously got no chance. So, yeah. What was I think? Aït-Nouri? I'd like to see Aït-Nouri having a go. He's just a bit exciting, isn't he? Particularly against teams like Newcastle at home. He might have offered that little bit of extra spark, really. Particularly when, as I said, the wing-backs aren't really performing. So, yeah, I think, we're probably going to have to start rotating, really, because with the way the centre-back situation is looking going into December, all these players who are staying... I mean, Aït-Nouri might go, actually, hadn't he? Somebody said.
Yeah, he might, yeah. He could actually go if he chooses to. I can't remember which team it's for, but...
Everyone's going to have to start playing their part. But,
Yeah, that's it, Bays. I think you're right, yeah.
Harry, with his 2 assists against Newcastle, Raul Jimenez registered his 50th goal involvement in the Premier League, 35 goals, 15 assists, 20 more than any other Wolves player in the competition. We said last week or week before last that we wanted to see more from him. He needed to be doing more. He needs to start kicking on now, and he's done exactly that.
Yeah, although he didn't score, it was his best performance, wasn't it, by a country mile this season. He was everywhere, and some of his that turn he did for the second goal just took Newcastle by surprise, and he put a great ball through. And the pass for the first goal was brilliant too. Mm-hmm. And let's just hope he can continue that. We did say, didn't we? He needs a goal, and let's hope he kicks on. And he scored last game, played really well against Newcastle, and let's hope it continues like this, because, I mean, I've already said I dropped a bollock, really, because I was saying I think it's about time he got dropped for Fabio, but he's proved me wrong, and I hope he can continue doing it.
Bayliss, do you remember that?
From Paul, Harry.
Has Adama got something to prove against his old team? This is about Villa, so we'll talk about that in a sec. Do you remember Harry and Bayliss when we came out the ground and there was that fuming Geordie guy who was shouting, "You shouldn't even have got a point"? Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Was he from the West Midlands?
Yeah.
Ever?
Yeah, it's like having a Midlander in London, isn't it?
Well, he was extremely depressed then, but I bet he's the happiest bloke in the world right now after their takeover. So we got him at the right time, didn't we? We beat him before they become the new Man City.
Was there a standout player, Jack?
It's either Hwang or Jimenez, isn't it? I mean, Hwang's finished 2 chances, which fall into most other players you'd say would only really half chances. There's no way Traore or Semedo would have buried probably either of them. So you've got to give him man of the match just for his finishing, really. So yeah, I've got an interesting stat actually, only because I heard Mikey Burrows mention it. So I'm just going to nick it off him. But
did he say it 3 times?
What?
Did he say it 3 times?
Very good.
I don't get it. I don't get that. But okay.
He just shouts everything 3 times, doesn't he? Sorry.
Oh right, okay. Sorry, I thought that was some joke. I didn't get. It kind of was. So that's the first time. That's the first time that we have scored in the opening 20 minutes of a game since surely in the FA Cup.
Oh
January.
my life!
When was the last time in the league game?
Oh God knows, live today. Surely in League Division 4, probably.
League game, probably back in the Championship, isn't it?
But that's mental, isn't it? Like, it's gone like
what was Arsenal? Was that
9 months? Without scoring in the first 20
mad.
minutes, and that's even only in the FA Cup game.
At least we got rid of that hoodoo.
Let's move on to not Black Country Derby, a West Midlands Derby next up, and we're all going to Villa Park, aren't we? Apart from Harry, who's babysitting. Unlucky. Yeah, you should have done. Can you do that? Could you have to buy a ticket?
I think you'd have to buy a ticket, yeah.
Could have stuck him in like a suitcase or something, couldn't I?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's really easy to go to grounds with suitcases.
Yeah, there's a special express queue for those, I think. If you want to catch up with the away perspective, Harry caught up with Will and Baz for that. So that's on the YouTube channel now. He's put that up, I think, last night. You want to go and check that out. If you're listening to the podcast, here it is. Otherwise, there seems to be in the comments section on YouTube, Harry, there's quite a bullish mood from Wolves fans at the moment, thinking that we're sort of going to pick Villa off. They're going to sort of come at us and we're going to do a job on them by the looks of things.
I disagree. I'm quite nervous about the game.
Good. That
Every year we've gone to Villa the last few years, I've been quite confident we'll win. We've done all right there, haven't we, in recent times? I remember winning
lockdown,
then we drew 0-0, I think, at Villa Park, the most recent one when Sace missed a sitter. But no, I'm worried about this. I mean, I know they lost Grealish, but I've watched a couple of their games this year. They look decent. I know they're only a point ahead of us, but they're a threat. They got Ings and Watkins up front, who, they both score a goal on their day. We just got to get on their defence. They've got a bit of a dodgy defence, and it could be quite a high-scoring game. I'd take a point, put it that way. But it's going to be a really tough game.
Bayliss, it does seem a lot closer than maybe both sets of fans probably feel it is. There'll be 5 wins for Villa, 3 for Wolves, 17 goals for Villa, 12 for Wolves, 4 clean sheets each, and that's a Premier League record over the last 12 games. So actually over a long...
When we were shit as well, though.
Yeah. But when you look at that over a longer period of time, and they had Grealish during, maybe half of that time. So it does seem a little bit more balanced than it probably feels.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's going to be an interesting game of football. They are playing well. That's one thing to say for it. And they have got 2 lads that know where the goal is. But it looks like we're getting to the point where so do we. I think if Jimenez had still drawn a blank and we'd have just had a draw against Newcastle, I'd be a bit more pessimistic. But Hwang definitely knows where the bloody goal is. And Jimenez is looking a lot better. And they're both linking up well. So I think there's actually going to be a game of whose defence is worse. Who has a better game between Mings and Cody?
They are best mates, though, as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's who has the worst game, our defence or their defence. And that's
the old boy House. Remember, did you see his goal against Man United?
He scored the other day, yeah.
Yeah, good goal, that. You watch him bang a header in again.
How is he playing in the Premier League? Like, I don't know what's happened there.
It gives us a little bit of hope, doesn't it? Because we know what.
Is he playing every weekend? Is it House every weekend?
It is.
Starting 11, Jack? I know you touched on it previously, but just give us a
starting 11. I mean, I think I mentioned this off air, but Trincao can't play. I don't think, can he? Because he's COVID, or he tested positive for COVID and still is isolating. So I think then the front 3 picks itself, really. I don't think Podence has done enough to claim a stake in the team yet, from what I've seen. So it's going to be Hwang, Jimenez and Traore, which I think, is on paper is probably our strongest front 3, isn't it? And it's probably going to be the same then. I know we just mentioned Marcel and Aït-Nouri, but I can't see it changing. I think it'll still be the same. Nevers and Martino in the midfield, and then the same back five.
Maybe we will try and play on the break then. I mean, if you've got Hwang and Traore to run down the wings, you might as well sit in and just bloody oof it. And if one drops, it's only one mistake from a defender, and you've got bloody quick bloke and someone that knows where the goal is, and then Raul charging up through the middle. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Wolves let Villa come at them for 15, 20 minutes.
I honestly, with Harry, I'm a bit nervous about it, and I honestly can't call it either. I think it's one of these that could go either way. It's probably two teams that could both end up coming away with the win or coming away with nothing, and I think a draw seems a fairly safe bet. I think Villa will be up for it. And let's be honest, they're a lot better than the Villa that first came up and just avoided relegation because they've had good transfer windows and they've invested even when they've lost. What is
one of those?
I don't know.
What is a good transfer?
Well, they invested because they sold Grealish, didn't they? Let's be honest. So they spent the money.
Yeah.
But question: are we going to get held behind after the game?
Probably.
What, for autographs and
that trained rubbish back in it.
Probably a conversation for off air.
Also, which colour do you think I should go with?
Talking of Villa, Paul, and talking of new signings, they've got that winger, haven't they? Bailey spent a bit of money on him. He's been injured the last few games, but he might come back, and he's a baller. So hopefully he's still injured. But Paul seems to think he might be back. And also on the away perspective, I know you three haven't heard it yet, but people who are listening would have. They're worried that their goalkeeper Martinez won't play and Douglas Luiz in midfield won't play. But we've got Raul as well, who's travelling back. He plays 3 a.m. Friday morning UK time, and I think they do as well. And are they going to? I think Raul will come back and play because he's done it before, hasn't he? But well, you don't. Well,
where's he playing?
I think he might.
El Salvador or somewhere.
Yeah, I think he might just fly back
in South America.
Jump off the plane straight to Villa Park, have his kit on ready, and just run straight onto the pitch after 10 minutes. But yeah, the Villa fans seem to think
still be better than Silva.
Yeah, the Villa fans seem to think Martinez and Douglas Luiz won't play, which tells me Raul won't. But there's no indication from the Wolves social media that he won't play, is there? So strange one. But for us, I hope Martinez and Luiz don't play for Villa because, as you heard on the away perspective, they're like their two key players, and they're like pretty gutted that they're away on internationals. But for us, Traore's got to start for me. You mentioned about Trincao. I know he hasn't played the last few games. It's probably because of his contract, but get him in there. Run up their left-back target, who he gives absolute nightmares to when we've played him before. And hopefully he can put the ball in the back of the net or get an assist.
And to be fair, the social media team at Wolves might have some information about Raul, but obviously they're too busy talking about esports to actually schedule it in and find some space for it. So, the priorities have got to be right. Let's have a look at a score prediction, Bayliss.
A 1-1 draw.
A 1-1 draw from Bayliss.
He's too deep in thought about his train times now. And he's like,
oh, well, which train am I going to take?
That's right. It's one of those that could go
to be back for Strictly.
Just going straight down the middle. I would like to be back for Strictly as well.
Jack?
I think 2-2. To be honest, I think score draw is that's probably being a little bit hopeful. I think it could easily go either way, as I said, but 2-2.
Harry?
Yeah, 4-1 Wolves.
And I'm going with, of course, 2-1 Wolves. Let's get your latest betting odds and ticket news. Look at that, straight into it.
It'll drop like some fancy bit of audio into there, but not on YouTube.
The Gaza. Please put the Gaza link in.
Yeah, go on, put the Gaza link. The one that your Tops Minion one.
The full length version.
Yeah, the full version.
The one that I get bullied for 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's our favourite.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Right, anyway, hello, betting fans. Hope this finds you well. I've done some scorecasts as normal, but there's a boosted odd. Jimenez to score a header, 10-1 on Sky Bet.
Like that.
Oh, I think that's a
Is he going to take his headband off, though, isn't he? To score a header.
He's going to get. I fancy he's going to get one. And then I haven't put him in the bets. Brilliant. 1-0 Wolves. Sace to get the goal because he's a shithouse and he missed the one the other year. 120-1. Do you know what? When we need a goal, it's surprising how often Sace pops up with the goal.
He does actually, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
2-1 Wolves. Traore first goal, 60-1.
I'm having that one.
A Desmond 2-2 and Hwang to score first, 75-1.
Is that it? 75.
Yeah,
That's
it's not very good.
Are these Sky Bet Bayliss?
Yeah.
Just checking.
Proves how weird it is.
Commenting.
Last one is Semedo to score first, 1-1 draw. What do you think?
300 to 1.
Actually, sure, like 150.
200.
Yeah, 195 to 1.
Yeah.
Short this week.
Tight, isn't it? Tight.
Even though we're 12 to 5, we're like better than 2 to 1. Really good price.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know why the scorecasts are so short, but there we go.
Jack has some ticket news.
I do. A little bit anyway. So looking ahead to the home games, I think the Everton games are Monday night, for anyone who didn't know. Monday night football, which is really inconvenient for everybody.
Oh, it's annoying.
On the 1st of November, and that's basically sold out. I had a quick look, and there's a couple of singles knocking about, but you'd have to be quick there. The away games, there's been so many people asking for Villa tickets on Twitter, aren't there? They've been. Have you noticed? They're just people are just really desperate for them, but that's sold out officially, obviously. Leeds away is also sold out, but I have some information for the Palace game, which is on the 6th of November. Allocation of 2,866. I know it's such a shit away game, isn't it, Palace?
No, it's the birthday that day.
No, it's Harry Mansell's birthday.
Yeah.
That's why none of us are going to be there. That's none of us are going to be there because we're going to go to his party.
Yeah.
I'm
So
going to fall in the canal
before the party.
I reckon I can do both.
Fall in the canal and go to Palace.
See, I thought this through, and I thought, like, can I go? Can I not go? Because I know I'm going off topic now, but basically, Palace is Croydon, isn't it? And to get back from Croydon to the West Midlands, it's going to take at least 3 hours. So if we left at 5 and had no traffic, the earliest we'd be back is 8.
You'd probably get back. You'd probably get to the party about 9.
It'd be 9 o'clock at the earliest. We'd be there.
It's about a 20-minute drive. It's about a 20-minute drive from my house.
It's not a 20-minute drive. It's definitely 3 hours.
From Croydon
to Palace. I reckon if I leave bang on full time,
it's getting away from the ground, isn't it? That's going to be the problem. Anyway,
I'll be at Harry's party for 8:15.
I don't think you will, Dan. I think you're being optimistic there. Anyway, that's another conversation for off air. But allocation of 2,866, £30 for adults, £20 for concessions. Available to gold away season ticket holders as of Friday, silver as of Monday, and on the point starting with 1,070 as of Wednesday. Got there eventually.
Lovely stuff. Expertly done as always. Let's move on now to the Newcastle takeover. If the question is, what is worse than Mike Ashley? Is it ever
murdering Saudi Arabia?
Yes, that's essentially the question. £305 million. Let's start with that. Where do you think they got that figure from, Harry? That seems like a lot of money for a club that.
It's obviously what Mike Ashley wanted, and he's got what he wanted. Is it? Obviously, I'm not the most educated on all this shit, but they've had to promise, haven't they, that it's not linked with the Saudi government. It is some kind of
we promise
organisation.
What him?
What it has done though, it has upset the Premier League, hasn't it? I think they called a meeting straight away as soon as the deal went through, didn't they? So the big boys at the top are not happy that there's bigger boys in town, and it's winding people up. And this is modern football, lads. It's going to keep going and going, isn't it? And they're going to be someone even richer, if that's even possible. Take over.
Well, I don't know how you say that, isn't it? Isn't it the combined wealth of the Premier League is absolutely nowhere near is it 320 billion? I think the PIC group is worth, and when you think, I think it's Man City's is 32, is it 32 billion or something? So it's an incredible amount of money, Bayliss. Are you going to become a Newcastle fan off the back of it?
It's just vast. Well, the thing is, they've claimed this 300 billion, but that's one part of the whole collection of people that have bought this single wealth. So it's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee that they're going to spend billions and do a Man City. This guy isn't going to just empty his coffers immediately. Isn't
it been quoted as they can spend up to 198 million in January and still be within financial fair play? Because obviously they're so tight under Ashley.
Yeah,
they've got this massive. What's that? 4 or 5 really good players if they can attract them.
It's the wages that do it, not as much the billions and billions. Like, we've got billions if the Chinese wanted to spend it. It's that. Do you want to run a club at such a massive negative?
Jack, what do you think's worse? 0 hours contracts at Sports Direct or murdering foreign journalists? Which do you think is worse out of that?
I would probably say the murdering foreign journalists.
Is it you?
Yeah.
It's fairly close.
Like chopping people's hands off, stuff like that. And
didn't you think Newcastle are going to get relegated anyway, don't you?
Well, this is the thing. I think everyone's getting a little bit carried away. Everyone's getting a little bit carried away. And Which, fair enough. I'm sure the Newcastle fans are very happy. I know they didn't like Mike Ashley. One thing that annoys me about that, though, is everyone thinks they've had a really bad time, and the lowest they've finished in the last 20 years is first in the Championship. It's not that bad, is it? It might be bad because you think for some reason you should be top 6, but it's I think we've had worse times, and lots of other clubs have. But granted, Newcastle have a big fan base and want to be pushing for the top. But I don't think it's been quite that.
Whilst we're moaning about it, it's just the absolute utmost of hypocrisy again from the people that run football, isn't it? Like, we've had it with racism and then them fining Hungary 20p for being racists, and now it's going to be exactly the same with this situation. So rainbow laces, no homophobia in football, fantastic causes. Oh yeah, but the people that have just bought that club for 300 odd million quid, yeah, you're not actually allowed to be gay in that country. So that's the message. That's the message that football and the Premier League are now putting across. You can wear some rainbow laces and we'll all support a cause, but when it actually comes down to it, fuck it, we'll have the cash.
Are you saying that Harry can't wear his pink shirt now in Saudi Arabia?
I'm just saying it as it is. If you want to actually support whatever the cause be it getting rid of racism or getting homophobia or welcoming gay people into football, don't allow a club to be bought by people from a country where it's illegal to be gay.
To be fair, though,
it sends the wrong message, doesn't it, really?
Don't you think it took ages for them to accept this? Because I'm sure about a year ago they tried to buy it and then the Premier League said no, didn't they?
I think there was pushback.
So long for them to accept it. So
it is quite funny, though. I mean, on the other side of the point, this is exactly what the Super League teams were trying to avoid. If they do come in and start spending stupid money, then it's exactly what they didn't want to happen. And now it's happened 6 months later. So it's quite funny. So you can't really begrudge them that, because I'm sure everyone, if it was your club, you'd be buzzing if they're going to spend money. But the thing we don't know yet is, are they just going to throw money at it, like Dan said? And from their point of view, before they start thinking about signing Mbappe, they need to win a game in the Premier League this season. Otherwise, they'll be in the Championship next season. So they can't do anything until January, can they? They can change the manager, but they can't really do anything else. So they just need to focus on getting their first win. I'm sure maybe a new manager or bringing someone else in might give the players an uplift, but they've got to focus on this season. And it won't be instant. It wasn't instant with Man City. They started, signing Robinho and these sort of players, but it wasn't instant success. It takes time, and it's a case of how long they last and how interested they are, how much they're going to invest.
Sorry, hungry like the wolf. Yes, do know that.
What did he say?
Oh, there are lots of countries where it's illegal to be gay, not just Saudi. Yeah, I think we're holding the World Cup in one of them.
That's correct. Well done, football.
Classic. Yeah, I mean, we always say that, don't we, that money doesn't buy you success, but I can't really think of many times where that's not been the case. Because if we think of the biggest spenders over the last 30 years since the inception of the Premier League, the biggest spenders have won the most trophies.
Yes, correct. Oh, Manny raises a good point.
Yeah, do you want to read Manny's comment?
That's that is a good.
Not evening, lads.
Wrong one. Sorry.
Martin. Manny, you're bang on. You're bang on. Loads of countries have done horrendous stuff against.
Manny says.
People. But this
Baby,
is the first
if we
one
say put the comment on something and read out the comment.
Sorry.
Because otherwise people are listening to this and they can't know what the comment is.
Manny says, to be honest, India, Russia, China have all done state-led atrocious stuff on its people. All have owned Premier League clubs where money before mortality in football.
Have a club ever been directly owned by a state, though? I think this is the first one in the Premier League. I know that Abramovich has got massive links to the Russian government. I'm about to get shot through the window. But
don't go to Pizza Express.
Is that Larder doing?
I've come see the 321-meter spire.
But I think this is the first one that's actually got a link back to a government that. Well, we all know what they did.
Money talks.
Got some oil there, haven't they?
Got some oil. Have they got any gas?
It's more than we've got.
No, that's the Russians. That's the Russians with the gas.
That's the Russians. Harry, do you think that? I mean, there's been so many conversations over the last couple of days of who people think Newcastle are going to sign and whether it's going to be a success. But it does seem that the success question seems to be splitting opinion as much as anything else. Do you think that there will be success in Newcastle in the next 5 years, or do you think this project will flop?
I think if they get it right, of course they can. But we chatted, didn't we, about when Chelsea first got their money early on, when City got their money, they had the free reign to go mental, didn't they? But now FFP and that's around, they've just got to be clever with it. And if they do it right,
the small fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course you can get it if you do it right. You can get it right, and you know, I've seen the interview with that woman who scares the shit out of me. By the way, you know, the blonde woman.
That one, the one with her eyes.
She looks like Voldemort's stepmom or something. But
Amanda Staveley.
But yeah, so she like seems like she knows what's about, and she's promising good things. So yeah,
it could be that.
I think they can get it right, and it's exciting for the Newcastle fans because obviously it's like a football manager game for their club now, and every transfer window they're gonna have the pick of the bunch and try and get who they can. So
I have to say they are a really self-entitled bunch of fans.
Newcastle. I don't know what
the only worst lot it could have happened to is Villa. Villa is the only one it could have been worse.
I personally think I'm happy for them deep down. They've had, I know it ain't been terrible, but they've had it bad the last 15 years, haven't they? And they're a huge club, huge fan base.
Have they had it bad though, Harry?
I think
they've had nothing to look forward to. They get knocked out of the first round.
Are you saying there's nothing to do in Newcastle?
Well, they've watched football, but not even that's good, is it? So,
but they haven't been they haven't gone down to League One. They haven't gone out of business. They've finished comfortably in the Premier League.
They've got like a chairman that promised stuff, and he was just a dickhead. And he's plastering Sports Direct all over the stands, changing the Alan Shearer pub to the number 9 pub because he fell out of Alan Shearer. Loads of little things that we probably don't know about, but at the end of the day, the fans know the most, don't they? And they weren't happy, and you know they're happy now.
They've replaced a really horrible bloke with some really horrible people.
Yeah, but then if these horrible people spend money and give them success,
that's exactly.
So there we go.
Yeah, it's some sort of football.
Do you think it will bring sort of an investment to the northeast with it? Because that's what always seems to be the promise, isn't it, Jack? With these sort of things, it's like, well, I think they're going to invest in the city and that sort of thing. And I suppose
they're getting this thing next week called broadband.
Haven't they got PlusNet up there? Is it not quite there, Yorkshire, isn't it?
Are they good? I don't know. I mean, obviously, success means that obviously more people will go to the games, but they've got a good following anyway. Newcastle, haven't they? You probably get more tourist fans, which is the same. Which is the same with every club that starts getting success, really. So it could have those things, but I don't know if the Saudis are going to come in and say we're going to build another Northern Angel or whatever.
Angel of the North.
Yeah. So.
Northern Angel. So you spoke to on a night out once, I thought. Do you think, Harry, that it's going to make the case for a Super League even stronger now that there is another powerhouse to potentially back it?
Well, if there is a Super League, Newcastle won't be invited, surely. Their success does not get them the invitation, does it?
Well, got Arsenal one. Yeah.
They've got Tottenham one, and they really have.
They've got the history, haven't they? And being in the Champions League, well,
what about Tottenham?
Say recent years, it feels like it hasn't been. But no, they won't get the invitation, Newcastle, I don't think, even though they are gillionaires now. But the Super League won't happen until 10 years.
Until 10 years' time. Excellent. Is there anything else anybody who has a burning desire to talk about?
Adama Traore's contract?
Oh, of course, yeah, the clickbait in the title. Harry, I'll let you take this one.
No, yeah, because we mentioned earlier that he hasn't started the last 2 games, and it's got to be linked with the contract, and it's been going on and on and on and on and on, and allegedly 100 grand a week. Is he worth it? Is he worth 100 grand a week with his stats? He's a unique player, but will he sign the contract? I don't know. And I think if it don't get sorted, he will not be starting against Villa. And I think it's going to disrupt the team a bit, isn't it, until it's sorted?
Do you think he's worth 100 grand a week, Jack?
Based
on goals and assists?
Sometimes no. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because he can just be so hit and miss. But the start of this season, he was our best player. Let's not forget that. And then I know he's fallen out of the team last time, but let's see how he does against Villa. But you know what he wants, and if you want to keep him, that's what you've got to give him in it. So the problem is, I think the real worry would be, because he's so hit and miss, is that the ink goes dry on that 100 grand a week, and then he's rubbish for the rest of the season because he can't be asked. And that might be, the kick in the teeth, and it's a risk. I understand why it's a risk, but it's a risk we've got to take if you want to start moving up the league, really, I think. So,
Bayless?
Gone in January, apparently. Paul?
Thing is, when he has his day, he is very, very good. And I have in the past called him the Deontay Wilder of football, but that big dosser got knocked the fuck out. So,
oh, brilliant.
I'd say if we get 50 plus million, I'd sell him. Buy a very good centre-back and another, hope Neto's back, or get another winger in, or a centre midfielder as well.
We'll probably just buy 2 wingers, thanks.
If we got points for dribbles, we'd be in the Champions League by now.
Just put it out. You'd be in the Europa League after a Saturday night.
I'd be treble winners, mate, on a Saturday night. Lovely.
So, I mean, obviously, we're quite nervous about Saturday. Should we just get battered before the game? Is that?
I don't know. Well, I know we're going back onto personal conversations, but what are your plans, Sam? What time are you heading up?
Not sure yet. So, I mean, I'm pretty easy, really. I don't know where to get the night. No. We're with the poor people.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I'll probably aim to get in there about 11ish. 11ish, Briar Rose will probably be the location for anybody listening.
Right, okay. To drink.
Yes. You're not allowed to drink? Because that curry we had?
Yeah. So
that's why you get the late train up.
I've got to be in town beforehand, and then I'm going to come up for about 1ish.
What are we doing beforehand? We're getting off topic again, aren't we?
We are getting massively off topic.
Everybody wants to stay and listen to us making plans for Saturday. You're welcome to.
Look, we'll stop it there, shall we? We'll say goodbye to Harry Manson.
Yes, goodbye, everyone. Have a nice weekend.
Jack Williams.
Bye, everybody.
And Dan Bayliss.
See you on Saturday when I go back on what I just said and get absolutely battered.
And it is a goodbye from me. Goodbye. Smash the gluten.
Always happens.